The day of the homicide, Officer Brannon was given a description of Wendy's vehicle by Detective Isom. I believe this was done mostly to be able to easily identify her, should she learn about the shooting and come to his house to ask what was going on. I believe Officer Brannon was told to keep an eye out for this reason only. So when she drove up, I'm sure he was expecting her to get out and inquire on what had happened. He likely was even on his radio as he spotted her, alerting Isom of her arrival. But instead of throwing the car in park, swinging her door wide open, and rushing to the edge of the crime scene tape, she, without hesitation, threw her car into reverse.
I would have made the kind of turn, like a K-turn.
And sped away. I think this was the precise moment that she went from being next of kin to suspect number one. Her trip to the crime scene was one of the main points Wendi herself on fake accounts fans tout as a mark of her innocence. And as much as I hate to admit it, it makes sense. No one would willingly show up to a crime that they committed just for the cops at the scene to easily identify them. That is, unless she had planned on being the first one there.
You were telling me before, when we were riding up here, that the agreement was that you're all going to have some type of phone call at 11:15 this morning. Is that correct?
Well, not exactly, just that we needed to have the talk at some point before. We have to decide before Monday of what to do about his school, where Ben's going to go to school, and he said, I'm going to be done. I thought it was 11:15, but when we listened to the message, it was 10:30.
Okay.
When he said, I'm going to be out of, he went to like a workout class at the gym.
At Premier.
At Premier.
Mm-hmm.
Said, I'm going to be out of it by such and such a time. You can call me then. And I called, but I think we could see what time I called him. I thought it was more of like, let's see, recent calls. I called him. Well, that's him calling in at 9:02. I called him at 11:42 and got his answering machine.
He called you at 9:02?
He called me at 9:02.
Mm-hmm.
The repair guy was there, and honestly, I leave my ringer off a lot of the time, so I didn't even hear the call come in. He left me a message. I called him at 11:42 and left him a message, just saying, okay, I want to talk about school for Ben, and I assume I'll see you at 4:30 today. When I figured he's going to take the kids swimming,
right,
and he'll drop them at the house at 4:30.
Okay. So in other words, the whole meeting at 10:30 or 11:15
Just didn't
happen.
happen.
Right. Okay.
That was our.
Gonna be the older.
That's what we were supposed to talk about this morning. Is like whether Ben should start kindergarten or go to kindergarten twice, or what he should do. And then he didn't call me back, which was weird.
So you had arranged to talk today, coincidentally minutes after he was murdered. And you yourself admit that it was weird that he didn't get back to you.
Him. So I Googled Trescott shooting.
Thank you for being here. So you Googled Trescott shooting, and what do you see?
About 11 a.m. this morning, TPD was called to the 2100 block of Trescott Street for a neighbor had heard that there was a loud bang in the neighborhood. TPD officers got on scene and they did locate a person who was suffering from a gunshot wound. They were taken by EMS to a local hospital. At this time, TPD is investigating the case as an unattended incident, so we are working it from all different angles, trying to determine exactly what has occurred. If you have any information about this call, we are asking that you call us at 606-5800 with any information about this case.
This is Sean Rossman reporting for the Tallahassee Democrat in Tallahassee.
Just that, police investigate shooting on Trescott Drive.
And it's on the news.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the media here tends to get places, and they can't really stop them from being outside.
How often is there shooting in like northeast Tallahassee, right?
On Trescott Drive?
On
Not
Trescott.
so often.
This is what I can't figure out. How did he get to the hospital? Like, did he call 911?
No, a neighbor, according to WCTV, here.
Original story. Police have roped off a small portion of Trescott Drive about a half-mile north of Benton Road. Investigators have gathered in front of the house of the 2100 block. A neighbor called police around 11 a.m. after hearing a loud bang. Police arrived to find one person shot. That person was taken to a local hospital, according to Officer David Northway, spokesman for the Tallahassee Police Department. Police don't know whether the shooting occurred in a home or outside. We just got on the scene and we're doing everything we can to solve the case. Those with information on this case should call the police at 606-5800. The little details available thus far doesn't paint a clear picture of the incident. Northway could only say police were called to the 2100 block of Trescott Drive and couldn't clarify whether they were called to a specific address. Investigators are scouring the yard and garage of a brick house on the west side of the street. Northway did not say whether the house was the focus of investigators. At this time, TPD is investigating the case as an unintended incident, Northway said. We are working it from all different angles, trying to determine exactly what has occurred. Police don't have enough information this early in the investigation to determine whether neighbors should be alarmed, Northway said. Update, 2:57 p.m. Tallahassee police investigators have blocked off a portion of quiet Trescott Drive in Benton Hills, the scene of a shooting this morning that sent one person to the hospital. A neighbor called police around 11 a.m. upon hearing a loud bang in the 2100 block of Trescott Drive, about a half a mile north of Benton Drive. Police showed up shortly after and found the person with a gunshot wound. That person was rushed to the local hospital, said Officer David Northway, spokesman for the Tallahassee Police Department.
Eyewitness News at 5. Coverage you can count on.
Police respond to the sound of gunfire in a quiet Tallahassee neighborhood.
I'm standing outside of the home that police had taped off early this morning. We're going to go through the timeline of events of the little information that we do have. Around 11 a.m., a neighbor called police hearing a loud bang noise. First responders found a person with a gunshot wound. That was the loud bang that neighbors heard. They were taken to a local hospital. Now, we don't have the identity of the victim or where that person was shot.
TPD is going to do and look at everything. So we're going to start our search out wide, and it could be anything that occurred, and narrow it down to where the evidence directs us.
There was an ambulance at the residence and did see someone being brought out. Can't really describe who or what was being brought out, but they were bringing somebody out on a stretcher.
TPD says if you have any information on this case, you're asked to call them, and as soon as we get any more details, we'll pass them along to you.
And this should be said, the police department won't release his name until they notify
The family.
And them being in Canada puts a little bit more of a wrench into our notification because it's a little bit more difficult to do internationally. But we're in the process.
And there's really, his injuries are really terrible.
The police got notified because a neighbor. Is it a picture of the house? Oh my God! You can see the car. Is it a picture of the house? Oh my God! You can see the car.
Oh my God. You can see the car. The car. Not his car. The car. Why would Wendi emphasize the car more than the house? Why does she sound almost horrified that there is a picture of the car? Almost like the car had some special significance to her. Tell her where Danny was shot. Never once says in the head or in the car. Yet somehow she seems to know both.
Or you can't tell it's our house.
Well, yeah, right. You can't tell it's not your house. It certainly appears to be a house like your house.
Yeah. And they say the 2100 block of Trescott Drive. It must be still blocked off. I bet it's going to be blocked off for a while.
It's certainly a crime scene, obviously a crime scene.
But it's like a thorough, I mean, a lot of people use that as like a drive-through.
Now, this other people obviously know about this. Danny did show up places today.
I don't know that he had anywhere to show up today. Did he?
Yeah.
Like, did you know? Because like it's summertime, he works from home, right?
First off, why does she say that like a mom in public trying to warn their kid that they're going to get an ass whooping when they get home?
Right.
Right. But there are people. But imagine if any of us fall off the grid from 11 o'clock this morning. Any colleagues
that had a meeting or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
All of the stuff he does over phone.
Right. Well, he and I were supposed to talk about where Ben was going to school, and it was very unlike him that I was the one who had to call him. So like he called early this morning. I had a repair guy at the house, and he called early this morning, and I left a message, and then I called him back. I have the phone record. He called at like 9, and he told me he went to Premiere. So he says, I don't know, like I think he went straight from dropping off the boys to go to Premiere, and then he said, I'm going to do an exercise class that gets out at 10:15 or 10:30, and then we can talk after that. You remember how I had a voice thing? Like I hadn't talked to him. He was like, I know your voice is bad. Like, does today work? And he said we could go for a walk at the law school, or we could talk. Like, and I have this message on my phone from him, which is why I said to the officer, there's no way he did this to himself. Like, zero chance that he shot himself. You know Danny.
I think there's zero chance.
Zero chance.
Danny would kill himself.
Yes, zero chance. Like someone did this to him. So he had plans that we would he said this at 9, like, we'll take a walk, we'll figure this out, we'll talk about school. And then I called him at like 11:45 or so and left a message. And that was, I thought weird, but I thought whatever, like he's in a meeting.
Probably thought, oh good, I don't have to talk to him. But
I was really anxious about speaking
God.
with him and having this be a contentious issue about where's our kid going to go to school.
Oh my God.
And I didn't hear from him, and I didn't think too much of it. I just thought like, well, he'll just call me later.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you have plans with Danny today, and according to you, him not calling you back is weird and not like him. And now you expect everyone to believe that still after another hour of not hearing from him, you drive right up to his house, a crime scene, complete with 4 to 5 marked patrol cars, forensic vans, and crime scene tape, and you don't suspect anything is wrong?
That's suspicious.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's weird.
But Wendi never expected to roll up to a cop-covered crime scene, because Wendi never expected Danny to be found. Danny didn't have anywhere to show up today, did he? It's summertime. He works from home, right? Right? He lived in a quiet residential neighborhood. Wendi even said it herself. How often is there a shooting in Northeast Tallahassee? On Trescott. And that's what she was banking on. She figured even if somebody did hear the shot, they would never think it was gunfire. They'd assume it was a car backfiring. Or maybe just think a tree fell. Or figure it was an electrical storm or something. She underestimated Mr. Geiger, and you, sir, are a hero. Here's my theory on what her initial plan was. Wendi could barely contain her excitement when Dan's voicemail picked up when she called him. After sending out the paper she was working on to the school library to secure her alibi, to check her citations, she glanced in the mirror. No need for makeup. I'm just going to cry that all off anyway. And she grabbed her keys and headed off to give the performance of a lifetime. We were supposed to talk this afternoon. I left him a message, but he never called me back. I had plans to meet up with a couple of my girlfriends for lunch, but it wasn't like Dan not to get back to me. So I decided to go to his house to see if it was okay. I figured maybe he got caught up working on his blog or something. Then I pulled up to the house, his garage door was open, and the car was running. But I just assumed that maybe he was getting ready to go somewhere, but I thought that maybe we could talk just like we had planned. So I got out and I walked into the garage. I was only a few steps in when I realized I was stepping on something. When I looked down, I noticed that it was glass. Then I realized that the car window was completely shattered and I could see Dan in the car. His face was covered in blood and I started to yell his name. Danny, Danny, oh my God, what happened, Danny? It looked like Sigfredo and Luis had made good on their end of the deal. I couldn't tell what had happened, but it looked like a bullet hole in the glass. So I called 911 and told them to hurry, that my ex-husband was finally gone and been attacked. I can't believe this is happening. Who would do such a thing? I mean, my brother's been shopping around for a hitman, but he would never. And my parents, they offered to pay for a third of the cost of the hitman, but they would never. My mom even washed the money, so there's no way this could even come back to us. Oh my God. Thank God I decided to drive over there. I knew something was wrong when he didn't call me back. I'm so glad that I got to see this for myself, that I listened to my instincts. Wendi ends up equal parts victim and hero. She bravely sits shivering in the police station, trying to recount all the details for the detectives. As she's escorted out, all the cops line up in the hallway and begin to clap. Wendi Adelson, a true American hero. Honored for her bravery, we salute you. But instead, she had to come up with some harebrained excuse for why the F she was at Danny's house an hour after he was murdered. Too bad she wasn't quicker on her toes. She could have gotten out and tried to feign some sort of concern. But fear only works in one of three ways: fight, flight, or flee. And Wendi flew, highlighting herself as the #1 suspect.
Okay, I don't
You
think.
don't know who it is.
No, and I don't
What if
think.
they come after the boys?
I don't think that's going to be. I have no indication at this time that that's a threat. Okay, but the boys are going to stay with you. You're not going to back over to Trescott. Okay.
No, I don't. I don't live there anymore.
I know you don't.
Did you catch that? Because I must have watched this interrogation 11 times. And I just heard this for the first time ever.
You're not going to back over to Trescott.
Because you were just there. And please watch how her stupid head moves when she says this. I know she's going for innocent and vulnerable, but this makes my skin crawl.
Okay.
No, I don't. I don't live there anymore.
I know you don't.
Ugh. Ugh. Wait, that actually reminds me of something.
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
Twinsies.
But the boys are going to stay with you, okay? And they'll be fine.
I don't know if I can take care of them like this. Danny didn't treat me very well, and I'm so scared that maybe someone did this. Not because they hate Danny, but because they thought this was good somehow.
Oh, are you saying that you think maybe one of your friends would have done something like this?
Who would do this?
I don't know. That's why you're here, and that's why we're talking.
Who would do this? I don't know. That's why you're here. And that's why we, the suspect and the lead detective, are talking. The subtle jabs that he is giving to Wendi are chef's kiss.
Would you ever ask someone to do something like this?
Not in a million years.
Okay. Do you think someone would do this for your benefit without asking you?
No.
37 seconds earlier.
And I'm so scared that maybe someone did this. Not because they hate Danny, but because they thought this was good somehow.
Oh, are you saying that you think maybe one of your friends would have done something like this?
Who would do this?
I don't know. What good does it serve?
Do I need to be read my Miranda rights or something if you're gonna look at my phone?
I can read you Miranda if you want to hear that.
Once upon a time, there was a bad little girl named Wendi. She told many lies and did many fake cries, so they locked her right up with real tears in her eyes. The end.
I'm just trying to make sure I'm being
I have no
protected.
reason at this point to suspect you in this incident. Okay?
I couldn't tell from the way you were talking to me in the car if I was a suspect.
Well, no.
Hold up. You couldn't tell from the way he was talking to you in the car if you were a suspect? In the car? A suspect for what, babe? The murder you hadn't been told about yet?
Right.
Also, this is easily one of the most strained responses from Isom.
Well, no, and the reason was I didn't want to get into everything until we got up here.
Is he still in the hospital?
Wendi, baby, sweetheart. You're doing too much. Is he still at the hospital? Pumpkin, you just got told about this, 30 minutes ago?
There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay, 24 minutes ago.
My bad.
He's at the hospital, yes. Yes.
Oh
So
my God.
I'm assuming his parents would be his next of kin.
He's a sister he's really close with.
Where is she?
They're all in Canada. He's Canadian.
Okay. All right. They live in Canada.
They all live in Canada.
Okay.
His family's all in Canada.
Okay.
They're gonna think I did it.
We all do.
Now, just don't jump to conclusions on that.
Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
We just have to eliminate everything. Okay. You know what she's saying, right?
I'm assuming I'm a suspect. I can't
No,
believe
you're not a
it.
suspect. I'm not, I don't consider you a suspect. I asked you to come up here. You came up here voluntarily. I've not read you Miranda. You are not under arrest. You are the closest thing to family that I have to Daniel right now. Okay? You are.
I'm so sad. I can't believe this is happening. I don't understand, and I'm very scared because if this can happen, like, what if someone's gonna come after the kids? Like, who did this, and why would they do this?
And from what they're missing, they haven't had any indications of that.
Do you think someone can watch the house where I'm gonna be with the kids tonight to make sure that nobody comes after us?
We'll discuss kind of that type of stuff. I'm gonna make sure that they know all your concerns and fears.
and I get why I would be a suspect, but the idea that we were divorced, but the idea that I would ever do anything is like, I understand why they need to check, but I don't know who would though. I don't know who would do this. I can see why they would think it would be me.
Well, and I don't think. And did Investigator Isom talk to you at all about like what your role is?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out.
And a lot of times they do stuff just to kind of cancel you out too.
It's fine. I understand.
Okay.
I understand. I just can't believe this is happening. I feel like I'm in the middle of a nightmare.
This isn't something that anyone plans on going through or wants to go through.
We were divorced. It wasn't good, but like, this is never something you would ever want to happen. I understand why I'm a suspect. I guess I'm not a suspect. I understand why you would think that I would do this, but not you, but
right.
And it's
So
gonna.
I understand why I would be the person you would think would do something, but
Well, we have to work just as hard to eliminate
it's
people.
fine. I want to figure out who this is because
Right.
I'm honestly worried.
Well, let me ask you, if you found out that this was someone that you personally know, would that change your mind about what should happen to that person
About what should happen to that person?
for prosecution purposes?
No.
Is there any way that you would think
if
somebody
somebody tried to kill my ex-husband, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
regardless of who it is?
I mean, it would be different if I thought it were my brother, but I don't think it was my family. Anyone outside my immediate family, that's a tough one.
Okay.
But I don't think my immediate family did this. So
Okay.
if it's anybody else, yeah.
I know we went over this in the last video, but to hear her pick and choose who should be held accountable and who should not be is just beyond comprehension and food for thought. If our little Wendy decides that her family shouldn't be held accountable for Dan's murder, what do you think she expects to happen to the poor little rich girl herself? Probably not much.
And you're not under arrest or anything like that.
I understand why you
But
think
I-
I'm
but-
the primary suspect.
No, you're not the primary suspect. I have to work just as hard, whether you were or you're not.
Okay,
Okay.
I understand.
To show what your activities were.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And let's put it this way. I think you're a straightforward person, and I think at this point, if you had anything to do with this, you'd have already told me,
Okay.
and you haven't.
Well, well, well. We're going to watch this one more time, and then we're going to dissect it.
And let's put it this way. I think you're a straightforward person, and I think at this point, if you had anything to do with this, you'd have already told me,
Okay.
and you haven't.
And she never will. You really put her on the spot there. And my God, did she ever choke.
And let's put it this way. I think you're a straightforward person, and I think at this point, if you had anything to do with this, you'd have already told me,
Okay.
and you haven't.
Isom completely sets her up here. He starts by praising her on her moral character, putting so much emphasis on how trustworthy of a person she is. That'll put her in an incredibly high-tension situation should she be lying. You can tell what an immediate effect that this has on her. Her eyes become absolutely locked onto Isom. She knows that she was spotted at the crime scene. She's also unclear about how much Isom buys her story. He's a seasoned detective, And while overall he has been relatively kind to her, she is still sitting in a police station, in an interrogation room, and was brought there in the back of a cop car after being hunted down at lunch, a move that Wendi still hasn't been able to understand. And so here he is sitting in front of her, challenging her to tell the truth, putting immense pressure on her. And when he says to her, I think if you had anything to do with this, you can almost see her choke on the air that she's breathing. Ugh, the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. She is in such an intense, fear-based freeze state that she actually stops breathing. When he gets to the part where he says, you would have told me, her mind is probably racing.
What does he know? Does he believe me?
Did Dan say anything on the way to the hospital?
Whoever call 911 see something. Oh my god, what if they already caught the killer? Something on my phone. Does he know it was me? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh shit, he's waiting for me to answer.
Okay.
Not a good look, Wendi. Not good at all.
So my thing is that let's let the
My ex-husband caused me a lot of grief. I would never do something like that.
I know. And it's
So
gonna.
I understand why I would
Okay.
be the person you would think would do something, but
Well, we have to work just as hard to eliminate
it's
people.
fun. And then at around noon, I had lunch plans at 1, and I was supposed to go to a friend's engagement party tonight, and it's called a Stack the Bar engagement. So I went to go find bourbon. So I went to drive to ABC Liquors, and I went to go through Trescott, and it was blocked off. So I went around, and then I looked for bourbon, and then I got gas. That's why I was trying to show the officer, like, I have receipts from all these things, but I don't know if it matters if they're at noon. I mean, obviously, like, I would be one of the people that they would think did it.
I mean, you have certainly the most contentious relationship with Danny that anyone has.
Yeah.
Damn, Jane just going in for that motive link.
You know, but
They swabbed my hands.
well, fair enough.
Gunpowder.
They should. I mean,
They asked
they
me if I
should.
washed my hands since noon, and I was embarrassed to say I hadn't. I don't remember when I last washed my hands. Oh, God.
Jane, no, not really.
You believe me that I didn't do this, right?
Something seems off about that clip.
Jane,
You believe me that I didn't do this, right?
no, not really.
Ah, much better.
I assume you didn't do this, you know.
I wish I had I was home working on a paper that's due.
Well, you know, you'll
I
have.
sent it in, I sent edits to
You'll
someone.
have.
I
there's
hope they have the time log.
Of course they will. Of course they will. I mean, all of that is evident. You know, you will. You know, you don't.
I understand why they think it would be me, but
Of course it would be you, but it's not you. I mean, Jeff would be my vote. Now, again, just going by, likely. I agree with you.
can't be an accident.
He didn't do this. Jeff, I mean,
I hope to God he did.
I know Jeff didn't do it, but I mean, I don't think Danny did.
Somebody shot Danny.
Like, to death. Holy shit.
I didn't even know that he was still living. Sarah told me that, and then I started freaking out and was like, I want to get the boys over there. Like, is he scary looking? Because I want, if he's not going to make it, but he's okay. Or he's not, I wanted the boys to be able to be with him.
Shouldn't somebody be with him?
I know, that's what I said. I was like, he's there and he's all alone. I was like, is he with...
Shouldn't somebody who loves him?
Yes. Should I go?
I'm sorry, but I am dying over here. Jane, I did not really like you when I first watched this interview. The way you babied and hung on Wendi made me sick. But girl, you are ridiculous redeeming yourself in these clips. Wendi is going so hard for that reverse psychology victim role, and Jane is taking none of the bait.
Jane, when Wendi says that obviously she's going to be looked at as one of the people who did this, she's expecting you to say, "Oh my God, no, not my precious little Wendi Pooh. You wouldn't hurt a fly." Now, Wendi, you show me who said that to you so I can set them straight. Was it that mean old man? Come on, Wendi. Mama Jane is getting you out of here. You don't deserve this kind of abuse. Let's go.
But instead, she completely blows up her entire narrative.
Well, of course you would have killed Dan. You hated him more than anyone. Good that they did a GSR test, but have they considered completely drenching you with luminol? They need to do all the tests on you, Wendi. Personally, I don't trust you as far as I can throw you. Jane's even got it down to just 2 suspects. Wendi, which she's 99.9% certain that it's her, and if, and only if, Wendi is by some miracle cleared, then she gives her vote to Jeff. But then less than 15 seconds after she says that, she says this.
I hope Jeff didn't do it.
So if it's not Wendi, you vote for Jeff, but you know Jeff didn't do it? And trust me, it is not lost on me that while Jane is certain Jeff couldn't have been capable of this, she continues to tell Wendi right to her face how guilty she thinks she is.
I understand why they think it would be me, but
Of course it would be you. If it's not you, Jeff would be my vote. Now, again, just going by, likely.
But did you hear her change her sentence mid-course? She says, if it's not you, I would. Then Wendi looks right at her and she throws in the part about begrudgingly having to vote for Jeff. So what do we think she was going to say? I think my vote would be, well, if it's not you, I would be shocked. But as she's about to say it, Wendi whips her head around like, the fuck, Jane? At which time Jane's probably thinking, Jesus, I don't want you to kill me too. I vote Jeff. Her voice ends so sharply after that sentence. And then she tries to smooth things over by saying, again, just going by likely. Oh, we know, Jane. There's nobody more likely than this girl right here. Wendi Adelson, most likely to be likely, Wendi Adelson. Wendi, so likely, most likely to be likely, Wendi Adelson. Wow. But as much as that had me dying, this next comment leaves me absolutely cremated.
Shouldn't somebody be with him?
I know, that's what I said. I was like, he's there and he's full on. I was like, is he with...
Shouldn't somebody who loves him?
Yes. Should I go?
Oh, Jane. You are so savage. You inspire me to be more savage in my day-to-day life.
I think you better snap into a Slim Jim. Because a new level of savage just entered the building.
Shouldn't somebody who loves him?
Yes. Should I go?
They're just starting this.
So they thought we were still married, and so I was telling him everything, you know, and then I was thinking, oh my god, now they probably think I'm a suspect. I should.
But of course you're a suspect, and you're a smart suspect. You should be the suspect. But you know, I mean, you're not gonna get framed for a crime,
right?
You know.
Jane, you are really making Wendi regret her decision to bring you here. She figured since you used to be a victim advocate that you'd look at her like a victim and advocate for her. I think she kind of forgot about the fact that as a victim advocate, you'd probably have a pretty good pulse on who is really a victim. And please note what Jane says here. You're not going to get framed. ... Longest pause ever for a crime. Note that she never says a crime you didn't commit. Just, you're not going to get framed for a crime, which makes sense, seeing that when you are the one who commits the crime, there's no frame needed.
I don't want to be like left alone in that house. Like I want protection. I'm scared. I don't know who this is. I don't. Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and come back. Do you need to like? Am I a suspect? You need to like watch me?
No, I don't need to watch you.
Okay, I'll be back.
And I don't know, what's wrong, but she might have inklings of what's going on, and she might be you need to contact an attorney. But again, you're not being, looked at as a suspect. They're just clearing.
Well, I'm trying to help. I mean,
and you have been, and I think you and Investigator Isom have been able to communicate well with each other and everything.
Can I text Ritu and just my friend who's a child psychiatrist and
absolutely
ask her? Because I think.
Yeah, and again, I'm not a psychiatrist, and I don't work directly with children on
Do
a
you
regular
mind if
basis.
I talk to her? Like, I'm sorry, I just
No.
keep feeling like I'm a suspect and I need to ask.
No.
Somebody did this on my behalf. Some crazy deranged person thought that this was a good way to support me. And that's why I feel responsible. Unless it was something to do with Amy, and then I don't feel responsible. But then I'm still responsible because I'm the one who left Danny. If I didn't leave him, he would never be with Amy. And now my kids don't have a father.
Yep, sounds about right. Guilty if you don't, guilty if you do. And guilty 'cause you did. Just my opinion. In the clips that we just watched, Wendi insinuates her own guilt over 25 times. And even as she is repeatedly reassured that she is not a suspect, she persists. And she's not being led to believe that she's not suspected because she's not. But because if she got any hint that she was there as anything but a helpful ally, she would have run out of there faster than she sped away from that crime scene. And we must remember, this is a very special circumstance, the way Wendi was brought in. When they watched her turn tail and sprint away from that crime scene, the red flags went up fast. Her behavior at Danny's house was anything but ordinary. Even if you just compare her to the other cars that drove up. She didn't even have a second of hesitation before slamming her car into reverse and doing a K-turn. And the K stands for killer. So they figured out that she was somehow involved. But they also knew that they didn't have enough to arrest her on. So they trailed her to Mosaic and waited for Isom to come and get her. And then they kept her ass at the station for over 6 hours while they extracted all of her phone data, pulled the GPS coordinates from her van,
and then listened to her tell them how guilty she was, over and over and over.
I'm the primary suspect. I'm a suspect. I get why I would be a suspect. It would be me.
Of course it would be you.
I would be the person you would think would do something, but I'm a suspect. I couldn't tell from the way you were talking to me in the car if I was a suspect.
Of course you're a suspect, and you're a smart suspect. You should be the suspect.
I would be one of the people that they would think did it. I understand why I'm a suspect. I guess I'm not a suspect. I understand why you would think that I would do this, but not you, but...
Right.
And that's why I feel responsible.
For comparison, let's watch somebody who actually had nothing to do with this and see how he behaves in the same situation.
All right, Mr. Latas, I appreciate you coming in and talking with me here. Like I said, we're still in the preliminary stages of this investigation.
Yeah.
Your name did come up,
Of course.
because you were associated at some point with Wendi,
Of course.
which is his ex-wife, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
So I'm basically just, I appreciate you coming in.
Sure.
I want to ask you some questions, kind of figure out where you were, if you've heard anything, if you have any information that would be helpful to us.
Yeah.
Just kind of run that whole gamut. Do you happen to have your ID with you? I think.
So my wallet got ripped up, and I have my passport right now. I can show you that.
Okay. Is this you here, or is that a different?
No, that's me.
Look different.
Well, yeah,
You got the beard.
about 10 years ago. Yeah, that's my old ass.
Oh, okay.
I moved from Arizona at the beginning of the year. I had to switch my license over, so it's Arizona, but that's me.
Yeah. And you said that you'd never been to Danny's house.
No, never.
Never been to his house.
Drove past it 100 times, but never stopped.
And you've never had any kind of physical contact with Danny.
No. I'm surprised you guys didn't call me earlier, though, because I probably said 100 times in public that I like to kick his ass, because he's like really making Wendy suffer and things like that.
Right.
But no, I would never. I'm a professor. I'm a pussy. I'm not going to do anything like that.
Okay. I mean, let me ask you this. Would you be willing to give us a sample of your DNA on your consent?
100%.
For elimination purposes?
No problem.
I don't even know if the lead investigator wants it or not.
I'll do it. I'm not going to find it.
I'm just seeing.
Print that in credit cards. I mean, I'm not involved. It's obvious, so I'll do whatever you want.
Initially,
415. I did on a flight tower outside of Athens. I was stuck there for maybe.
And he does have a. Can you show him a receipt for the Miller's power shop there?
I didn't know credit cards wouldn't have times on it. That's interesting.
We already got his phone number.
Yes.
Is there anything else I can figure out? I just don't think there's
He did say he was willing to get buckle if you need it or want it. Is that something you want to do?
I can call him back. We have his phone number.
Yeah.
Let's take a second.
And the guy drives in from Georgia, Tennessee, whatever, and comes straight here, from what I understand, what you told me.
I didn't do it. I guess the thing that keeps popping up on my head is, don't write this down, but just so you know, if you're investigating, I've been shocked how easily Wendi lies to my face. I've been dating 25 years. I'm not an inexperienced man out there, but her and Charlie both have this sociopathic kind of thing where it doesn't seem to bother them at all. So if you had her in front of you for 9 hours.
Are her parents from the United States?
They are first generation. I think their parents were Holocaust kind of things. So yeah. And they're weird, but I don't have a time actually being involved. But they are strange people.
Right. And all we basically are doing is we're substantiating. We do this with everybody. You're not the first in this case. We're just substantiating. This was his whereabouts according to his financial records. He was traveling. He was not in town.
Yeah.
Yes, he's her former boyfriend, but this is where he was at according to his financial records.
Of course.
So that's all we basically want to do. And it's basically we eliminate, and then we get down to who we're really looking at.
Yeah.
You understand this? It's not brain surgery or anything, but I'm trying to think of anything else I could ask you at this time, and
I do want to come back. I just don't want to spend more time with Wendy if there's anything.
Here's another thing that I typically ask people. Is there anything that you didn't disclose that maybe we didn't ask that you think is of note or is important? Because a lot of times you've thought about this just as much as we have.
So
I mean, you got a whole trip to think about and analyze all this stuff.
It's a pretty screwed up family.
I mean, but I'm trying to, everybody's probably in the same brainwave. For murder?
Doesn't seem likely to me.
No, but I'm asking your opinion, not.
I can't see the parents being involved. I got the email and I thought of Charlie within a couple moments.
Okay.
That's what I thought of.
Charlie personally or Charlie hiring somebody?
No way, Charlie. No way.
Can't?
Wouldn't do it.
Could pull a trigger?
I don't know about that. I don't know him that well. I was telling him I used to work juvenile justice a little bit in forensic psychiatry. He gave me the creeps. But I could see you don't follow the rules, man. I mean, that's how it goes his life. Goes to South America, sees prostitutes. I mean, he does his own thing.
Is he married?
No, he's got 3 girlfriends at all times.
Okay.
Rotates them, and they don't know each other exists, and that's not a crime.
Right.
But the ease with which he did it was no empathy for other people. That's
kind of a deceitful person to start with.
Sure. The whole family, really.
Do you have a credit card?
I do.
The one that you sent me the email
Got it right here.
on? Can I just make a copy of that? I'm not going to charge anything to you.
That's fine. That's fine.
But I just got to show.
You can't trust the police to hold on your credit card.
Well, here's the thing. Your account doesn't necessarily show that you are the account holder. There's nothing in that correspondence.
Gotcha.
So I'm just going to make a copy of this. And really what this is doing is just working to exclude you as a suspect.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can also
you've pretty much done that.
Well, I thought so. I'm sure my cell phone records would show that too.
I kind of showed this to my boss, and they're like, well, let's just go ahead and verify that he has this account number.
Sure, gotcha.
And you weren't locking on to somebody else.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory stuff, I know.
Gotcha. Well, no, you guys got to be careful.
Yeah, we got to check everything out. So I'll be right back. I'll make a copy of this, and then I'll come right back.
See how Jeff does his interview for cops? Very demure, very mindful. He doesn't come to the station with the green owl tee. He doesn't look like a clown when he talks to cops. He doesn't do too much. He's very mindful when he's at his interview. See how he looks very presentable? The way he came to the interview is the way he talks to the cops. A lot of you girls go to the interview looking like Jodi Arias and talk to the cops looking like Letitia Stout. Not demure. He's very modest. He's very mindful. You see his shirt? Only a little FSU, not an owl. Be mindful of why they found you. Here's your reality check, Diva. What's the name you'd like me to make it out to?
Wendi certainly seems to have quite a guilty conscience. And as reprehensible as that makes her look, it pales in comparison to what she says next.
And I have no idea who would do this, and I feel like they're out there. And if I'm gonna have a hard time not being sad in front of the boys. I need to tell them today, don't I?
I think you do.
Have you done this before? Doesn't
Have
matter
I told,
if you've done this before.
Have I told children? You know, I have not as young as your boys.
What do I tell them?
You know where your boys are at. You know kind of what you've talked to your boys, you know, and I know they're so young, you know, some parents have conversations about life and death and things like that, and some haven't at that age.
We had our first conversation about God.
Okay.
yesterday, ever. And Ben was clipping into his car seat, and Ben out of nowhere says, "Mommy, I bet Abba knows a lot more about God than you do." And I said, "Well," I said, "different people have different beliefs about God." And so we get to the car, and Ben was like, "Is God a man or a woman?" I said, "Well, some people believe that he or she is an old white man with a long white beard." And Lincoln, who's 3.5, said, "God is dead."
And is Ben's your oldest then? And then who's your 3.5-year-old?
Lincoln.
Lincoln?
And I
love that name.
said, Lincoln, like, I was like, it's like Nietzsche in the back seat. Like, I was like, Lincoln, who's still in diapers, but is having a sophisticated conversation about God. And I just was laughing and laughing, and they were asking such interesting questions, and I was answering them with, like, different people think different things. And, you know, but it was just our first time we ever had a conversation. Really, they talk about superheroes a lot, and so sometimes they'll joke, they'll fall over and be like, "I'm dead," and I say, "I really don't like it when you say that." And you know, they've talked about like animals being like, "He was dead," like on the ground, and they even quasi understand Lincoln's named after my grandmother, and whose initials are LJ, so his initials are LJ. He would say to my mom, who's still very heartbroken over the loss of her mother, he would say,
Just as a quick aside, I find this little anecdote that Wendi just shared both abhorrent and ironic. First, she says that Lincoln's name honors her maternal grandmother. You can tell just by the inflection of her voice how meaningful this is for her to honor her grandmother in this way. Less than 1 year from this exact date, Wendi would change both of her boys' last names from Markel to Adelson. Dan was his parents' only son. The removal of the boy's last name not only erases any memory of their father, but also obliterated the patrilineal legacy of the Markel name. Wendi says this is done for safety reasons, claiming that the media coverage featuring the Markel name put the boys at risk. Explain then why she also chose to eradicate Ben's middle name, which was a tribute to Danny's grandmother. It's just so disgusting to hear her so fondly speak of the importance of namesake legacy, knowing that she will demolish Danny's the very next year. And then she mentions that her mother, who was in her 60s at this time, was still not over the death of her own mother. All while sitting in the police station after commissioning the death of her own kid's father. Allegedly. It makes me sick.
to her mom, like, "Is your mommy dead?" And she'd say, "Yes, you know, you're named after him." And he'd say something like, "Well, is she in heaven then?" You know, like, so they have some fleeting concept of things like God.
They know heaven.
I don't know.
And let me just kind of back. I'm not sure what investigator Isom kind of told you. You know that he's still alive.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. He's.
Is he possibly gonna make it?
I don't know the answer to that. I know
he made it sound like he was gone. Okay. So does that mean that he might be okay? You don't know.
I don't think, from what it sounds like, I don't think he'll be
the same. Okay, but he might make it.
I don't want to give you that false hope.
I'm sorry, I just thought he was gone, and now I don't know what to tell. It's sort of a game changer.
I know, and that's why I was kind of asking you.
I didn't know that. He made it sound like he was gone.
I don't think it's good though.
I know that's sort of what he said, but I assumed he was saying that like euphemistically.
And that's why I'm kind of because I don't want to be misleading in this conversation.
Is there any way to find out if because if he might be okay, like I want to bring the kids to him so they can.
And that's kind of stuff we'll talk about in a little, but let me ask him.
I just think that's different, right? Like, if he's not going to make it and he can see the kids one more time, then he should see them. So, Is there, like, are we getting updates from the hospital?
They have been, they were at the hospital. Obviously, when, something like this happens, they do go to the hospital.
How did this, so when it happened, did someone call the police because they heard a gunshot or something? How would they know did he call the police? How would they know to take him to the hospital?
I don't know the answers to all these, and I'm not, I'm gonna let, when Investigator Isom comes back in here, I'll let you kind of ask some of those questions.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But I didn't want you to think, I'm sorry, I just didn't want you to think that he was completely...
I thought he was gone.
And that's what I was getting from your conversation, and I didn't want it to be...
If he's still alive, I need to make different choices.
Right.
I want the boys to be with him. Well, I don't know. I mean, if he looks scary, then...
Right, and that's what...
Is that why? Does he look scary? Is that why?
I don't know. I haven't seen him.
Because I think that would be more traumatizing for the kids to see, like, something horrible. Right. I don't want them to...
And I will say, from a victim advocate perspective, I always recommend people not to, especially young children.
They're so little. I mean, they could, like, I want them to have, if it's going to have to be memories, I want them to be good. Mm-hmm. Because their last memory would have been him taking them to school this morning. Mm-hmm. This morning.
I find all of this so problematic. First off, let's look at the change in her demeanor from when she was sure she was going to have to tell her kids that their father was dead to when she realized that he might make it.
And he'd say something like, well, is she in heaven then? So they have some fleeting concept of things like God.
They know heaven.
I mean...
Smiling, relaxed. She looks like she's having coffee with an old friend.
I mean, I don't know.
And let me just...
And here comes the switch.
I'm not sure what Investigator Isom kind of told you. You know that he's still alive.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. He's...
Is he possibly gonna make it?
Anguish, disgust, dismay. This entire time, Wendi has acted absolutely horrified by the news of Dan's situation. Yet the moment that she hears that he hadn't died yet, she starts to lose it. When she says...
He made it sound like he was gone.
She sounds betrayed. She reacts as if she has been misled. The disappointment in her voice when she says,
I just thought he was gone, and now I don't know what to tell. It's sort of a game changer.
I know, and that's what
is palpable. And any person who had been agonizing over the fact that they were about to have to tell their kids that their father was dead would be so relieved and hopeful to learn that the prognosis was not as grim as they had initially thought. And I think referring to it as a game changer is an absolutely psychotic thing to say. You could say, oh, thank God, or what a relief. To call the potential for his survival a game changer insinuates that him remaining alive would significantly alter either your current situation or your future plans. His survival would be anything but a game changer. You wouldn't have to destroy your kids by telling them that their father had been killed. Everyone's schedule and lives would remain relatively unchanged. And not yet knowing the severity of Dan's injuries or the impact that it might have on his future, there could be no determination on what accommodations may need to be made. For someone who has been conveying the level of trauma that her kids will feel after learning about the death of their father, her irritation and upset about the possibility of his survival makes absolutely no sense.
How would they know to, did he call the police? How would they know to take him to the hospital?
When have you ever heard someone ask such a thing? No one asks how someone got to the hospital.
They would say, "Thank goodness someone heard the shot." They would be so thankful that someone was around to alert the authorities, to potentially save Danny's life. The idea of this horrifies her, because to her, the person who called 911 is more than just a good citizen. They're a witness. And the only person who would be worried about a witness would be someone involved with the crime.
I'm trying to keep you informed as much as possible.
Thank you.
I'm trying to be in a bunch of places at once.
My grandmother once said you can't have your tuchus in 2 places at once. So it's hard
That's
to
true.
do.
That's true.
I'm losing my mind over here.
Okay, this is the thing. All right, my understanding. Okay, I'm going to give you the. Let me do it backwards because this will be easier, or not backwards, but the other way.
Is he still alive?
Clinically, he's not going to live.
What does that mean?
He has
Is he
a
brain
severe
dead?
yes. He has a severe brain injury.
Someone shot him in the head.
Without knowing any details as to what happened to Dan, blurting out someone shot him in the head is a pretty bold move. He could have fallen after being shot and hit his head. This could have been a robbery gone wrong. He could have gotten beaten, causing brain injury. And it's not like she asked him if he had been shot in the head. She announces it.
Someone shot him in the head.
Like she already knew.
It's apparently there's too much damage to recover from it. Okay, that's why we need to get a hold of
His family.
parents. Right.
I don't know what his I don't know if he has an advance directive or what he would have wanted. He once told me that he would want we joked, I said I would want to be like, if I was ever, I have an advance directive. I do this kind of work. I run a medical legal partnership. Like, if I once said if I ever was like brain dead, I would want to be like, I'd want the plug pulled.
Right.
And he said he would want all efforts made. Like, he would be cryogenically frozen. Like, he wanted every single effort that could be made to keep him alive. I know that much.
This is a complete fishing expedition. She doesn't actually care if Dan's wishes are met. She's just trying to see if he's beyond saving.
My understanding, and that's what we'll have to get a hold of the family as soon as possible, but my understanding is there's irreparable damage. There's nothing that can be done. I mean, I'm not there, I wasn't there, but I understand from previous cases that the brain, his brain is damaged beyond repair. There's nothing that can be done for that.
Is he still alive? Should I bring the kids to see him?
No. He has severe facial injury. I'm sorry, and I know this is tough, but I would not want my children to see.
Okay, I just thought I got this inkling that maybe he was like still somewhat conscious,
And I wanted to make sure he's not sitting with police officers right now, divulging details that could implicate me.
wanted him to get to be with them. If that, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that, but that's
Okay.
that's the way it is. Like I said,
Okay.
there's severe injury, trauma.
Okay.
All right.
Is there someone is there a doctor working on him or?
Because again, I want to have total assurance he's not coming out of this. I would be so screwed if he were to recover.
Just
there's doctors at the Trauma Bay, the ER.
Yeah.
I think he's been transferred to ICU.
Okay.
All right, and they'll have to make a determination about organs.
Oh my
and
God.
so forth.
Oh.
Great. Because organ donation equals no chance of survival. Phew.
So, hence, hopefully we can.
Okay, the kids. Yeah, the kids.
All right, now let's talk about the kids. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I don't know who the contact person was. Was it one of the ladies that you were eating with?
No.
Miss McPherson.
I thought I wasn't supposed to contact them, so I didn't ask about those two because I thought it seemed. Anyway, I asked.
Huh? What? You thought you weren't supposed to contact them? Why? Because they were an integral piece of your alibi?
Two other women I'm friends with.
Okay, that are familiar with
I
the
think
children.
Jane is who they got.
Do they have to? Does the daycare place have to be contacted to allow her?
So what do you mean he's not good? What do you know about this?
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Oh my God.
Really?
Oh,
I don't know how I'm gonna tell the kids.
I know.
Let's put that on.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks.
You really don't think that? You know that?
What's that? I'm sorry.
You know that they don't think he's gonna make it through this? Oh, really?
You're not gonna make it.
He's a TMH right now?
Mm.
And I was asking because I thought maybe he would, and I wanted
Right.
I wanted the kids to be
Yes.
with him if he was okay.
Okay. And he has family and stuff at the hospital or something?
We don't have any family here in Canada.
Right, I know, but I mean,
There's no family here.
They don't-
girlfriend, anybody come down, nothing?
Amy, I don't know if Amy knows yet. I don't have Amy's phone number.
Amy's on
Oh.
Facebook.
I'll contact her later.
She's on Facebook. I mean, she can be found.
Yeah. I was thinking of one more thing. This is really tangential, but his friend I told you about, Matt Price, his wife's brother was killed. So if you're going to call someone first, Matt's going to lose it. So
Isam's job is not to spread the word around about Danny's death. He needs to tell his parents because, obviously... Please note how quickly she was healed from being so distraught that Jane had to hold her for 2 minutes straight to talking completely normally.
I don't intend on calling Matt. I just need to have the background on different associates and friends and so forth. You know, my objective is to find out who did this. So, based on what you've told me, I'm going to take that information, compile it with other information that other investigators have worked on, and we'll see where it leads.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying anybody that you told me about is any way involved.
Is there
I
any
don't
sign
know.
of stuff being stolen from the house?
I can't discuss that.
Okay.
So,
But you are discussing that you don't think he's going to live. I mean,
I'm telling you a fact that I know he's not going to live. He's not going to live. Okay. So.
is he dead now?
Well, I already discussed that with her. He has enough injury that's traumatic enough that he's not going to be able to recover from it.
Did Lynn already go get the boys?
What's happening right now is Lynn's on her way here. She doesn't have car seats.
He's I didn't even know that he was still living. Sarah told me that, and then I started freaking out.
Cruel. I meant to say cool, and then I started to say great.
Right. Well, cruel.
I was like, I want to get the boys over there. Like, is he scary looking? Because I want, like, if he's not going to make it, but he's okay. Or he's not, like, I want to.
He's not gonna make it, but he's okay. What the fuck does that even mean? If he's not gonna make it, I'd wager a guess that he's not okay, Wendy. And who the fuck says I didn't even know that he was still living?
I didn't even know that he was still living. Sarah told me that, and then I started freaking out.
Still living is the standard. It would be finding out if he didn't make it that would be the shock.
Jane, I'm sorry. I don't know that his family knows yet. Did they get that information?
We're working on that now. What we do usually as a law enforcement agency, we don't like to tell people that over the phone if we can try to avoid it, just because it's kind of shocking news. And we usually
So can you tell
what
law enforcement there to go to the house?
Correct. That's what we're trying to do now.
Is that better?
Oh my God, shut up, Wendy.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't know, especially people's conditions and how they're going to react. So if someone gets so upset that they have a heart attack or something, we want, not just be on the phone.
It's better to have a human.
Mm-hmm.
But they're working on that now.
Yes.
So it's an actual fact that he's not going to survive these injuries.
That's what General Isom?
Yes, Investigator Isom. Yeah, that's what he.
He's not a general.
Investigator.
Whatever. The phone grabs you sometimes. That's okay.
I was just like in the car with it. I'm like, what is your name? What do I do? I saw that one from Kara. If you need to call her, you can. You're not being held hostage here.
Just tell her.
So we're in the process right now, and to do that, generally we have to. It's almost like a telegraph that we send to the other agency, kind of giving them information on who to make contact. It's very old school, as we were when I started working here.
I know that it's not like. Well, I don't know what's happening right now, but like as of a little bit ago, it wasn't definitive. Do they want to wait until it's definitive, or do they want him to like?
Wendy, what are you even saying here? Don't they want to wait until it's definitive? Until what's definitive? His death?
They want to wait until it's definitive, or do they want him to like?
Do they want him to like what? Get rolled into the morgue before they tell his parents? This entire stream of consciousness completely proves everything you said about wanting your boys to see him in the hospital was a load of bullshit. So you want everybody to believe that you think it's important for a 3-year-old and barely 5-year-old to get one last chance to see Dan one last time. Yet you think the authorities should wait until Dan is definitively dead before even telling his parents?
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself?
They want to get in contact with them because I think some decisions need to be made, and because they're his parents, they would be his next of kin. Yeah.
So he's still alive, but he's maybe on life support or some such thing.
I don't know the medical terms around it, but it's from what Investigator Isom was telling her, it does not look.
He was shot in the head.
From what was Investigator Isom?
I said that, and he didn't answer it.
So
someone shot him in the head.
This is one of the things police look for when interviewing or interrogating a suspect. Details of the crime scene that haven't been revealed yet.
It's just he was very badly shot multiple times, maybe badly.
When I think he did say that there was trauma to his face. And that's when you were asking about showing the boy.
I wanted the kids to be with him, but not if he looks scary.
And not if he's, there's nothing to be.
I know, I just thought he might be like,
no, I know.
I got the feeling he might be a little bit alive.
Right.
And if he's a little bit alive, I wanted him to like touch
be
the
able to
kids
see
one
the
more
children,
time.
right? But he's apparently.
I have such a visceral reaction to hearing her say the phrase "a little bit alive." It actually makes my stomach hurt. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. She says a ton of horrific things in this 6-hour period, yet somehow this is the worst for me. I've actually avoided editing this part because I knew that just the act of typing it out would make my blood run cold.
Beyond that, like he probably hasn't regained
From what Investor Esme
consciousness.
said,
Yeah, that's what Wendi is banking on.
correct, yes.
He's
from
been,
what he was saying, I wouldn't
He was
take
found
it.
in a really dreadful state, and he has not come out of any kind of. He ended that phase. Oh, Wendi, good Lord. Have you called your parents, darling?
No, after we're just
Can
going.
she call her parents?
They have
I don't see, they have her phone.
But
Yeah, but I
know
know
their number.
I do know my family's number.
I don't.
Okay, no hard feelings, but I hate you. Not joking. Bye.
Because an update on what's going on medically,
I didn't even ask because I know somebody else is dealing with that.
Okay.
And my understanding is he's in ICU. Last I heard was he was probably not going to survive. But they are trying to
And you
work out
told
the
his dad
organ
that?
donor
Oh my God.
aspect
Okay.
of.
She's about to sink her head into her hands as if hearing about him donating organs is just too much for her to handle. But forgets to modify her voice to match the anguish that she's trying to convey with her body language.
That whole thing.
And you told his dad this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like they had to do an automated dialogue replacement in post-production, but just gave the actor the lines and forgot to tell them what the scene was about.
So they are.
And is he coming? Is he?
Well, and Melanie spoke with him, and I hadn't had a chance to sit down and talk with her since, because I was on the phone. I was trying to give the nurse a heads up to say, hey, just so you know, we've talked to the dad. He's going to be calling, so that random person didn't call.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
did Alan say the kids need to close?
Well,
they can just sleep in their closet.
Well, and he didn't know how long you were going to be, and stuff like that. And Jane called.
She's just so clearly unaffected by any of this.
They're probably kind of hearing. So they're probably hearing, and they're looking for you for confirmation.
Hearing on the news, so you heard that,
What I'll tell you, the police station hasn't released his name.
Yeah.
But obviously, this Dean person knows, has an inkling, whatever the case may be.
He know? Something must be going on. How would all of these people know?
Well, if someone like the Dean, and if they're trying to get hold of you and they can't, they're going to start going to other persons. I will say the news does have the block. They do have the street,
and then people are figuring it out. Well, Tracy knew that it was him, and she's calling the hospital. So how did Tracy know?
Wendi, how is Sarah supposed to know how Tracy knows?
And I will say that the police...
Facebook. They're all probably talking to each other on Facebook.
People communicate.
No, I know, but Danny's very, very public.
And then they're all probably trying to call him and say, hey, where you at? What are you doing? And
And so he's not responding, and he's always very responsive. They must have each other's contact on Facebook and then be connecting with each other.
And then what'll happen is they'll get really frustrated because they'll try to contact the police department. We're not telling anyone anything. They'll try to contact the hospital. Hospital's like, no.
Here comes Chelsea.
Whoa, Wendi. Why would Wendi be worked up into such a frenzy over how people are learning about Danny? The method of how information is traveling is such an immaterial concept in a situation this dire. I can't imagine anyone even wasting the headspace to think about it, let alone obsess over it like Wendi is. The only time that I've ever in my entire life wondered how someone knew something is when the information was secretive or private and should not have yet been shared. This only further corroborates my theory that Wendi was not expecting anyone to find out about this for a while.
Okay, I'm gonna call my parents.
Okay.
I have no idea what to say because I don't even know that he's dead.
I'm sorry, what?
I have no idea what to say because I don't even know that he's dead.
Yeah, okay, no, that's what I thought you said, but at the same time, surely nobody could be that disconnected from reality to say that out loud in a police station.
I have no idea what to say because I don't even know that he's dead.
Yeah, no, Wendy, I heard you. My mind is just blown that that's what just came out of your mouth. So let me just try to unpack this. You don't know what to tell your parents because you don't even know that he's dead. Call me crazy, but it almost sounds like your parents are expecting a call from you. One in which you tell them that Danny is dead. Okay, Wendy.
I just
You
know
don't,
that he has
but
been shot and
but all signs of what everyone's telling you. I mean, when they start talking, sorry to be blunt, organ donation.
I know that's
It's
the one that
not
really.
He's kind of
Okay, so I just want to tell them what happened and that I need them here
and
that
they're
I'm
gonna come
fine
up
and
here
the kids
probably.
are fine.
We just want to make sure you get someplace that you're comfortable, and you've already told me enough reasons that you feel like that maybe whoever did this.
I don't want to go home.
Right. So we're going home just to get the
Okay.
clothing, the computer, and then we can get you on to the
Okay.
other, I can't remember their names now.
Alan and Lynn.
Right.
They live really close to me.
Okay.
You look like you've had a long day.
I have.
Her saying that is such a disingenuous, manipulative thing to say. She's trying so hard to take the focus off of her as a monster. I feel like somebody who's really going through all the emotions and hardships that she would be facing would not even have the headspace to think about the investigator having a long day.
Okay, so we'll be getting ready to go in just a minute, okay?
I don't have a lot of stuff to take with
I
me.
know,
Can
I
I
know.
throw out the tissues in the trash can?
Yeah, but we're not there yet. I just wanted to.
I'll get a trash can for you before you go. Don't worry.
Okay, because I'm making.
It's okay. Do you want me to go with you on any of this?
You're really sweet. I'm okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not.
I mean, I'm gonna call you to check.
I'm most definitely not okay. But
I'm on call this weekend.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my number. I'm gonna give you my cell phone, and I'm available. Okay.
I
So
just I have friends, and I don't really.
That's good. And friends will know more than I will. But you might have questions that come up.
No, I mean, there's a lot that you can answer, and I'm sorry. I can't believe this is happening.
And I'm sorry this is happening.
God, everyone's sorry this is happening. You know, it's like my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else. He hurt their daughter, but listening to my mom just like cry and be horrified on the phone and be like, "Of course," and she sounded like
That's horrible. And normal, good-hearted people don't wish
nobody wishes
things like this to happen. You know, like.
Look who it's not. Normal, good-hearted people.
You might say like, I get frustrated. You might be like, I hate someone, but you don't ever. Saying stuff out of emotion isn't something you really want sometimes to happen.
It's really messed up that people are worried when they hear gunshots on Trescott that they think like something happened to me. I guess it makes sense. It's divorce and people do crazy things. I just am not okay.
Well, this is a traumatic experience, and your brain's gonna kind of process the stuff differently, so.
As he was driving me here, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, I wonder if I could be like framed for something, like if I didn't do something, but I'm still gonna end up in jail.
Right. Are we getting a sneak peek into what your defense is going to be at your trial? that someone set you up, framed you. That's fun. Note her glancing up at Sarah for approval. Or rather, trying to read her to see if she's buying the bullshit that Wendy's trying to sell her.
I wonder if I could be like framed for something, like if I didn't do something, but I'm still gonna end up in jail.
And Sarah just laughs. You're not gonna get framed for a crime.
I mean, that's your attorney mind probably thinking, but
No, that's her criminal mind thinking. That's the mind of a murderer silently freaking out when they're picked up by the cops directly after the death of their ex. The death that they planned and arranged, paid for, and thought was so sweet. Allegedly. And listen, Wendy, if you turn out not to be implicated in this murder that you definitely had a hand in, I will personally issue a public apology and send you a bouquet of flowers. But more than likely, I'll be sending you a bouquet of ramen noodles in jail. What? It's not my fault that you're guilty. I would have definitely suggested that you didn't do this had I had known you. And furthermore, I definitely would have suggested that you not be such a horrible, lying piece of human garbage if you didn't want the entire world to think that you were guilty. What a concept. But, I mean, you do you, boo.
you've been more than forthcoming with information and you're doing everything you can to help.
I can't imagine who would do this.
I can. But, again, that's neither here nor there, I guess.
Will I tell him? I can't see it. I don't wanna. Okay, so we think like Danny's not waking up. Like, is that? That's the thing. Is like I don't want to tell my kids that their father is gone if he's not. Like, I don't want to have that.
Do you think you can be around them tonight without maybe disclosing to them?
I do.
Then maybe it's something you could just wait till the morning till you know a little bit more certainty.
Again, this is so telling that to Wendy, the only option, the correct outcome, is that of Danny's death. She keeps hemming and hawing that she's going to have to traumatize her kids by telling them that their father died. Yet, all the while is viscerally affected at the concept of his survival. It's so transparent. And you can tell that she's never even considered the fact that he might have survived this. That was never part of the plan. And it's so apparent with the absolutely off-the-wall shit she says through this entire interview.
Somebody going to tell me? Like, if he doesn't make it and it's like official, is someone going to...
What?
A normal person would just ask for updates on his status. Not ask if she will be told when he's officially dead. Jesus Christ.
I mean, I'll know because they'll notify me because then when incidents like this happen, they'll have to do an autopsy and things like that. So I can ask the investigator to let me know when they get, because they'll have to notify the police.
They'll figure this out, right? They'll figure out who did this.
How awesome would it have been if Sarah just said, well, actually, you'll be happy to hear we're interrogating the number one suspect right now. And then just deadpanned Wendy until Detective Isom came in and cuffed her ass.
That will be their goal, and they figure it out.
There are unsolved crimes, aren't there?
I mean, there's always unsolved crimes, but I would say these guys that work here are really good. They're going to be working really hard, probably throughout tonight. If you think you'd be comfortable tonight, just kind of waiting to see. I do.
You think that makes sense? Like, not just because I am still not.
Well, because this is. I would say maybe yes, it would make a little bit of sense, and talk it over with your family and friends. But the thing is, because then if not, you're gonna have to tell them something along the lines that he's seriously hurt. no, you can't see him, and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And then you're gonna have to come back and be like, oh, well, actually,
What do you tell your children when their father was murdered?
What do you tell your children when their mother was the murderer?
It's not like Daddy had cancer and he's sick and he's around for a long time.
I don't think you tell them all that right away. And
No.
again, I'm not, I don't work with children very often. But I would tell them, just that, he was really hurt and he had to either, go to heaven, whatever kind of concept that they have on that.
I don't know how, I said, I don't know how much they get this. But, he was fine. He was healthy. He was strong. It's not like he was sick and they saw him get sick.
Well, and that's why you said he was hurt, because, and I know they don't understand this, but think of this, he could have gotten in a traffic crash or something.
I have questions, though, and I don't want to lie to them.
And you don't.
I don't want to say he was hurt. How was he hurt? He felt like.
Well, you could then say something like, some very bad person harmed your dad, Do you think they're going to ask?
I don't want to. I
don't
don't
want to expose them,
but
well,
they're going to be so scared. What if the very bad person comes and harms me, and then they're going to be orphans?
Well,
The very bad person is in the room with us.
Wendy, for as much as you play the victim, you'd think you would be better at it. Because you were such a transparent mess through this entire interrogation, and everyone sees right through you. But we've only begun to unravel your tangled mess of lies, and trust me, it becomes even clearer as we go deeper.